Flyers score next. They will move on to face Carolina. Penguins score next. They will force a Game 7 in Pittsburgh on Saturday. Couturier in with a hit on Wotherspoon. Now Forster plays the puck for the Flyers. Wotherspoon skates it out. 58 shots on goal. No goals through the first 60 minutes. Here's Forster. And now Wotherspoon across to Carlson. Here comes Wotherspoon to the red line, shoots in. Puck held in by the Penguins. The tag towards the net, sticked aside by Vladar. Now the Flyers gain control at Ristolainen. Chinnikov in on the forecheck. Barkey couldn't get it out. Kept in the zone by Letang. And now smothered by Vladar. The last time the Flyers played an overtime game at home in the playoffs, 14 years ago today, April 29th, 2012. On the right, their current general manager, Danny Briere. He scored the overtime winner, sitting with our former colleague, president of hockey operations, Keith Jones.
Yeah, Danny Briere was one of the more clutch Flyers in the postseason. He seemed to elevate his game, and he's hoping his team can elevate theirs as they try to move on to round 2.
Off the draw, Konecny plays the puck for Philadelphia. This will be a Flyers icing. Jenny Malkin in his 20th season has 2 career playoff overtime goals, one for Crosby, Carlson, Raquel, and the Tang. And this is the first game in Penguins playoff history scoreless through 3 periods. Now Drysdale for York. Shovels it up the boards. Konecny. Dvorak. And now Barkey for Konecny. And across the Penguins line. Give and go with a save by Shilovs on Konecny. Out the pass, Soderblom. Back into the Flyers zone. Held off by Drysdale. Soderblom with it once again. Back out to Carlson. Mantha had it poked away by Konecny. Chasing after the puck. Here comes Travis Konecny. Zegras. Konecny. Shilovs covers the puck.
Ryan Shea with a defensive play on the back door. Turnover at the blue line, the offensive blue line for the Penguins. Konecny was able to pick the pocket of Anthony Mantha. A dangerous looking rush for the Flyers. And then watch Shea on the back door, able to tie up Konecny as he tries to find that puck. It looked like it was a tough pass as well. It was in his feet, not on the ice. And Shilovs, who made a save on Konecny a few moments before, able to tie that puck up.
Talk about Artie Shilovs again continuing his strong play, and Hank was talking about the battle level of both of these goaltenders. Not even 2 minutes in overtime, and Shilovs, 2 grade A scoring chances, 2 big saves.
It's the 3rd playoff overtime game for Shilovs. He was 1-1 with Vancouver and head coach Rick Tocchet 2 springs ago. Now here come the Penguins. Glove save. The puck was heading wide off the stick of Achari, held by Vladar.
Christian Dvorak looks like he's got a wardrobe malfunction. I don't know if there was... Sometimes if there's blood on the jersey, you can't play with it. You make the change. Not really sure what's going on there, but... Oh yeah, he's got some blood up by the right temple.
Crosby, Raquel, and Rust on the ice for Pittsburgh. Offensive zone draw. Raquel and Couturier. Battle for the puck. Flyers gain control. Here's Forster. We are in overtime. No score. Couturier pressed off by Raquel. And now Erik Karlsson with the puck. To Raquel. He shoots in. Rust in pursuit. Sanheim kicks it back around. Ristolainen puts on the brakes. And now the return for Sanheim. Cut off by the stick of Crosby. Now Sanheim for Philadelphia. Here's Ristolainen. Rasmus Ristolainen cutting wide. Wotherspoon stays with him. Lizotte on the puck for Pittsburgh. Now Couturier slides it across. Shots are 32-27 in favor of the Penguins. Shilovs and Vladar have stopped them all. Now bump. Tripped ahead by Karlsson, kept in by Cates. Back around it comes. Onto the stick of Karlsson. No icing. Vladar settles the puck down. Now it's Cam York. Knocked out of the air by Lizotte. Dewar looking for it. Connor Dewar shoots. Turned aside by Vladar. Malkin unable to get it through. York with it for the Flyers. Sent in by Alex Bump. Chris Letang with the puck for Pittsburgh. There's Letang up the middle, off the stick of Chinakhov. And now it's Dvorak with that new jersey. Outlet pass, Konechny. Konechny looks to fend off Girard. Konechny back out to the point, Sanheim. Pressured by Malkin. Puck forced out of the zone. And Barkey moves it back to the Pittsburgh line. Here comes Malkin. Evgeny Malkin. Puck carried in behind the net. Chinakhov puts on the brakes. And now it's Barkey for the Flyers. Here's Ristolainen for Konechny. That was Konechny back behind the net. Ristolainen throws in front off the stick of Dvorak. Mantha with it for Pittsburgh. Kindle shoots in. He was not yet to the red line. It's a Penguins icing.
Well, Christian Dvorak had to change his jersey because of blood on it. This is the hit that he received from Elmer Soderblom. Hits his head right up against the glass.
It's a big, the tree, as they call him, Soderblom, just coming in and makes contact. And Dvorak doing the quick Superman change there on the bench. He's ready to go.
Now Zegras, Tippett, Martone, offensive zone draw. The Penguins control. Shea up the boards and out. Played by Soderblom. Now it's Mantha. Anthony Mantha puts the puck through the crease. Soderblom battling in the corner. Mantha sends it back around. Waiting for it is Karlsson. Karlsson with a shot. Missed the net. Mantha couldn't tee it up. And now Martone for Tippett. Tippett looks to gain a step. Owen Tippett spins. And now it's Kindle. Quickly back the other way for Soderblom. Elmer Soderblom. Shot gets blocked. Knocked down by Mantha. Now Soderblom stopped by Vladar.
Crosby shaking his hand there, looking back. I don't know if he got slashed on the play. But after the shot here, this is a great job. And the skating ability of Erik Karlsson just never ceases to amaze. He gets back, and Owen Tippett, they turn that puck over and go back the other way. Looks like Crosby's okay as he remains out there.
Yeah, Tippett, the fastest player for the Flyers. That he can fly, and Karlsson able to recover right there and not give anything to Tippett. Great defensive play there.
Crosby and Couturier. Flyers control. It's Ristolainen. Now Forster moves the puck out. Glendening jumps on it. Glendening met by Letang. Now Couturier. Taken away by Girard. Flips it ahead. Rust. Now Ristolainen. Here's Glendening. Shoots back down. Couturier and Letang. Now Raquel over for the Penguins. Here's Girard. And now Crosby to the red line. Into the left of Vladar. We played 5.5 minutes in overtime. Still scoreless in game 6. Now it's Ristolainen. Shea, Cates racing in with a hit on Shea, Lazat with the puck for Pittsburgh. Now Sealer and Achari. Dewar over for the Penguins. Beachcomb on the ice for the Flyers. He's had a couple of great chances tonight. Juleson back in the lineup tonight for Philadelphia. Pressured by Lazat. Now it's Dewar. Dewar shoots. Bad save, Vladar. Comes out to Wotherspoon. In deep for Connor Dewar. Defended by Sealer. Dewar towards the net. Penguins keep the puck alive in the Flyers zone. Here's Novak. Works it back around. Pass Sealer. Picked up by Jinnikov. Jinnikov dropping it off. Shot by Malkin, blocked. Sealer made the defensive play.
And Sealer able to get off quickly.
Now cutting wide with the puck is Carlson. Centering pass, Malkin. Great opportunity of getting Malkin. And now the Flyers into the Penguin zone. Konechny looking for Barkey. And it's Novak back the other way. Moves it into the Flyers' end. Sanheim back to retrieve. Penguins go for a change. Konechny. Tipping in a collision with Girard. Letang moves the puck out for Pittsburgh. Here's Girard shooting in. Cam York. York tied up. Soderblom in for the Penguins. 7.5 minutes gone in overtime here in Philadelphia. Soderblom sends the puck back around. Zegras beats Letang to it. Mantha on it for the Penguins. They have to clear the zone. Sent back along by Anthony Mantha. Now Cam York for the Flyers. York lifts it high in the air. Zegras forces the puck in deep. Led by Girard. And now the Penguins move it back out. Here's Raquel with Rust and Crosby. Raquel towards the net. Stick save Vladar. Raquel taken to the boards by Forster. Puck kept in by Shea. Now Crosby with it out in front for Rust through the crease. And Sanheim will clear. Shea with it for the Penguins. Now Crosby. Crosby. Far corner for Dewar just off the bench. Now Couturier pressured by Dewar. Crosby comes in to work it free. Puck deflects out of the zone.
Shots 5-1 in favor of Pittsburgh in this overtime. They outshot the Flyers 13-5 in the third period. You can feel the desperation from their club.
Looking to become the 11th team in NHL history. Force a game 7 after trailing 0-3. Now Lazat. Cross-ice pass. Achari. Puck was bouncing on him. Achari tied up by Juleson. Lazat over to play the puck for the Penguins. Back out for Wotherspoon. Flip towards the net. Deflects just wide. And then Achari off the leg of Juleson. Achari with it once again. Now Lazat. Cates comes in for the Flyers. Cates shovels the puck ahead, and then a diving play to clear. And the Flyers have a 3-on-2 into the Pittsburgh zone. Beachcomb across, and the puck kept away from bump by Connor Dewar. Now the Penguins settle things down. 9.5 gone by in overtime. Puck deflected into the Flyers zone, kept away from Malkin. Wotherspoon with it. Now Jinnikov back to Wotherspoon. Here's Letang. Faceoff will come back into the Penguin zone following the icing.
Well, some good opportunities here, Boosh, by the Penguins, and Evgeny Malkin looking to line this one up. And look at the job by Nick Sealer, staying patient there, gets down, makes a huge block, and then this one, Boosh.
Good play by Carlson. Good feed to Malkin in front. Juleson just able to get a stick on Malkin as that one goes to the right of Vladar. But the Penguins certainly seem like the more desperate, hungrier team here in the last period and a half.
Zegras wins the draw. Here's Drysdale. Wristing the puck around past Zegras. Penguins clear. Here comes Novak. Novak shoots in to the right of the Flyers net. York back to play the puck. Now Shea fires back down. Centering pass. Here is Mathis. Stopped by Vladar. Puck still loose. No whistle. Play continues. Soderblom looking for it. It's underneath a pile of players, and now the play is blown dead.
Unreal stuff there. I don't know if Vladar is hurt or tired.
Or both.
Yeah. He couldn't freeze the puck because it was to his blocker side. And once he gets outstretched, watch as he makes the save here. Can't get back on that blocker side. If it's in his glove hand, he's able to do it, but he's trying to reach over with his glove. But I don't care how flexible you are. There's no way you can get your trapper on it. Stays alive. The Penguins try and find that loose puck, but not able to find it as the Flyers all get in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 orange sweaters to help their goaltender out.
And now the ice scrape just past the 10-minute mark of overtime.
Well, Dan Vladar, I mean, you talk about the battle level of both of these goaltenders, and Vladar started that off, and then, as you pointed out, Pooch, 5 jerseys, orange jerseys in there, doing everything in their power to keep that puck from crossing the line, and what a goaltender battle we've seen here tonight in Philadelphia.
I feel like in the first half of the game, the Flyers had the better of the chances, but in the past, I don't know, 2 to 2.5 periods, it feels like the Penguins have found a way to kind of assert their game, and it's been the Flyers that have been hanging on. And
you can kind of feel it in the building too. I think the third period, the fans were a little bit nervous. I think they blasted that Enter Sandman coming out in the third. Now they're starting to get going here now, but you can see the desperation of the Pittsburgh Penguins trying to extend this series to 7.
The 8th playoff series between the Flyers and Penguins. Flyers won all 3 before Sidney Crosby was drafted by Pittsburgh. Penguins have won 3 of 4 since. John Couturier has been a big part of the rivalry. Crosby and Glendening to the right of Vladar. Glendening wins the draw. Ristolainen cuts away from Rust. Up the boards, Couturier. Forster deflects the puck ahead, chasing with Wotherspoon. Wotherspoon takes Forster to the boards. Glendening in as well. Achari, Crosby. Carlson comes away with the puck. Onto the stick of Rust with Raquel. Rust sends in deep. Ristolainen ties up Raquel. Now Wotherspoon steps up. Penguins in the Flyers zone at overtime. Here's Wotherspoon. Now Rust towards the net. Crosby looking for the puck. Ristolainen there. Ristolainen, who had never played in the postseason prior to this series, over 800 regular season games. Here's Forster. Shovels one. And it's held by Shelovs.
That's a good point, Kenny. And I think a lot of what we're seeing in this overtime, you've got a lot of players on Philadelphia's roster who's experiencing playoffs for the first time and overtime. On the flip side, you've got the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've been here. They've done that. You're seeing that poise right now as Philadelphia getting a rare chance here in overtime, and a good rebound control there by Artis Shelovs.
Right, and Rick Tocchet said after Game 5, it's important that we understand there's another pace. It's all brand new to most of our guys. And as Mace pointed out, first overtime game of this series, first playoff overtime game for most of these Flyers.
So many valuable, so much valuable experience you can gain from these situations, good and bad. I think for these young guys, obviously you want to come out on the top end of it, but these young Flyers experience that I think a lot of fans never thought they'd get by playing in the postseason.
Achari on the draw. He's won all 8 tonight. This one knocked down by Lazat. Flips it ahead for Achari. Achari for Dewar. Connor Dewar maintains control of the puck. Defended by Drysdale. Puck blocked in front, and then a shot from Lazat. Deflects out of play.
Fourth line again for the Penguins. They've been good. There's a compete level to this line. They're all they seem like the same size guys. It's like hard workers that win pucks and can be real annoying to play against. And Lazat with that opportunity, Cates gets a stick on it, and Lazat can't believe it. You know, Lazat missed 16 games at the end of the year due to injury, came back for game one. I think that fourth line needed a little bit of time to get their chemistry back with the injury to Lazat, but they have been effective here in the last 3 games.
Novak with Malkin and Chinikov. Offensive zone draw for the Penguins, and they win it. Here's Letang. Cut off by Dvorak. Puck played by Chinikov. Back out for Letang. A shot. Puck chipped up the boards out of the zone by Konechny. Letang back on it. Now Malkin. Malkin sends in around Sanheim. Puck played by Konechny. We've played 12 minutes in overtime. Now Ristolainen. Down into the Penguin zone. Samuel Girard for Pittsburgh. Puck deflected in by Chinikov. Shots 39-28 Penguins. We remain scoreless. Now Sanheim to Martone. Into the right of Shelovs. Carlson wrapped up by Dvorak. Puck sent around for Shea. Shea up the left wing. Off the stick of Achari. Looking around with Sealer. Now Zegras deflects it ahead. Held in by the Penguins. Battle for the puck, and Tippett couldn't get the stick on it. Here's Achari. Carries in behind the Flyers' net. Now moves it into the corner for Lazat. And then Dewar tied up by Zegras. Now it's Lazat out in front for Achari. Juleson blocks that attempt. Back out to the point for a shot by Carlson. And Sealer plays the puck for the Flyers. Down into the Pittsburgh zone. Icing.
And Dan Muse went right back to the fourth line. And what did they do? Win a shift. Now the Flyers ice the puck. Who hops on the ice? The Crosby line. This is the value of having a fourth line that can tip the ice in your favor.
Well, they do such a good job, not only just keeping it in the offensive zone on the cycle and the battles, but they create offense too. And Dan Muse is credited that fourth line with coming back into this series, being that catalyst, generating those chances in the ozone time.
Crosby wins the draw. Back to Samuel Girard. Now Raquel shoots, stopped. Russ couldn't get the stick on the rebound attempt. Held in by the Penguins. Martone's been out on the ice for 1:20. They could not change following the icing. Here's Rust. Hard around, Letang. Back for Crosby, kicked it onto his stick. And then leaves it for Rust. Out to Girard. Here's Raquel. Cross ice, Girard. Winds, doesn't shoot. Rust towards the net, covered by Vladar.
Yeah, smart play there by Vladar. He just could not wait to tie that puck up. He recognized the importance of getting these guys off the ice. Zegras, Martone, Tippett, all over 1:20. Crosby's line, face-off win, and then they get to work. Rebound by Vladar, and then a defensive play there by Juleson to block the attempt by Raquel. And as the play went on, an important face-off for Vladar to get.
You can see that's the matchup you don't want at center. Crosby against Zegras out there. You know, that's a defensive matchup you don't want there. And good on Vladar there for recognizing and getting his guys off the ice.
Now Glendening wins the draw from Kendall. Sanheim with the puck for the Flyers. Past Glendening. And now played by Kendall. Walked off Ristolainen. We've played 14 minutes in overtime. Now the intercept by Forster. Towards the net, covered in the crease by Shelovs.
Well, now as we get into overtime, there'll be less of the extracurricular. That is for sure. One, you want to keep your energy. Two, you don't want to take an unnecessary penalty. So we will not see any theatrics after the whistle. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, well, I think now these guys, it's between the whistles. They're playing hard, doing all their damage and physicality in between the whistles. And you're exactly right, Boosh. The last thing anyone wants to do is put their team in a situation where you're killing a penalty here in overtime.
The cage shooter out for the Flyers. Offensive zone faceoff. Chari wins another one. Now Drysdale swings it around for York. Pressured by Novak. Now it's Malkin. Puck fired in by Novak. Off the stick of Vladar, picked up by York. Looking for Michkov, held in by Wotherspoon. Now Novak with it. Back around for Malkin. Evgeny Malkin. Novak shoots, and that's gloved by Vladar.
Maybe a little frustration there from Dan Vladar after that save. He yelled out. Not sure if it's because of how much defensive zone time they've had, but again, Dan Vladar's done such a good... He uses his size, I think, almost as good as anybody in the league. He just fills that net. He's so good at just covering all of that net and right there fighting through traffic. He gets up and a little bit of frustration there from Vladar, Boosh.
How about Novak? He tried to bank it right off of Vladar's head. Fortunately, when it went through the crease, Malkin was on the far side boards to retrieve the puck.
Off the face-off, Sanheim in behind the Flyers net. Puck cleared up the boards by Foster, held in by Crosby. Now it's Ristolainen. Rasmus Ristolainen for the Flyers. Rust stays with him on the forecheck. Now Sanheim. Here's Ristolainen to the red line. And now he shoots in. Puck played by Letang. And now Crosby. Ryan Rust. Rust held up by Ristolainen. Raquel sends it the rest of the way. Drysdale back to retrieve. Shots 42-29 in favor of the Penguins. No goals tonight. Game 6. Flyers lead the series 3-2. Now the Flyers with the puck in the Penguin zone. Here's York. York backs it up. Watched by Achari. Now Wotherspoon on the puck for Pittsburgh. Lifts it high in the air. Past Drysdale. Puck played by York. Here's Konechny. Konechny held up by Wotherspoon. Letang fires the puck around. Came out of the zone. Flyers offside. Noel Achari's done a terrific job on face-offs tonight, especially here in overtime. Travis Sanheim has played over 30 minutes. Erik Karlsson leading the way for the Penguins, close to 35 minutes here tonight. As the Penguins look to stave off elimination and force a Game 7. Puck knocked out at the line by Sanheim. Mantha flips it back in. Here's Ristolainen. Chance of let's go Flyers from the crowd here in Philadelphia. Sanheim up the boards. Puck cut off by Mantha. Soderblom back into the Flyer zone. Chased by Kindle and Ristolainen. Now Sanheim with it. Sanheim held up by Soderblom. Zegras in for the Flyers. Now Sanheim up the boards. Played by Mantha. Soderblom. The return for Mantha. Kindle in there as well. Now Soderblom tried to get it out to the point for Karlsson. Picked off by Martone. Here's Tippett, cutting wide on Shea. Oh, and Tippett, backhand shot. Oh, then Martone, how did that not get past Sheelovs? Wow. There's Drysdale, cross-ice pass. Shot was blocked. It's underneath Kindle. Puck comes loose. Another block for the Penguins. Now Martone couldn't get it through. Bouncing puck after the shot by Bump. Penguins clear. Wow. It's an icing.
Oh my goodness, Martone, who scored his first NHL goal in overtime against the Boston Bruins in the regular season on Easter Sunday, had a chance to end this series. Tip it with the spinorama, puck on net, watch the rebound. Sheeloff drops his stick and gets it with his blocker. Shades of Dominic Hasek base.
We're talking about the Dominator right there. Just
Oh, the
everything.
stick
Got
on
the
it.
stick on
Wow.
it.
Hit the stick on the ice.
Oh,
Flyers control the faceoff. Shot from long range. Score!